There is so much wrong there. Please don't get me started. James Harden in Houston for a charity event, KHOU Channel 11. He's been waiting patiently all summer for the Philadelphia 76ers to follow up on their attempt to trade him, and he thinks the relationship is beyond repair. Not sure that's a bad thing. I'm Amy Lawrence, in for Maggie and Perloff here on CBS Sports Radio, and I cannot imagine anyone that I would rather spend some time with on a Friday afternoon than my longtime friend and colleague at this network and previous networks, John Kincade, who joins us from 97.5 The Fanatic in Philadelphia. First of all, need to know, are you all caught up on General Hospital?
Yeah, I've not seen. We're pretty much through yesterday's episode. There's a lot going on.
How many years of watching this soap?
43.
Oh my God!
Mrs. Wu and Cyrus Renaud are causing a lot of trouble behind the scenes.
Troublemakers.
So it's trouble. Like you, Amy. Very much like you here at the network.
Me. Hey, who's the one who loves to do uncomfortable radio? That's you.
Oh, that's me. I love this. Yes. And this topic, I've been frothing at the mouth all afternoon.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Okay, so I say full disclosure. I tell people that there are a few people that I dislike in pro sports more than James Harden, but I've given my opinion about it. This is ridiculous, the fact that he's now going to try the same old playbook again to force his way out of town. But what, inside Philadelphia, what's the response to how he's handling his business?
It's surprisingly complicated. And when I saw James Harden was in Houston for a charity event, I'm figuring it was a charity cookout or something. That would be my guess.
Right.
He probably had cheese in a can and stuff that, he could get himself. I love the guy, Amy, as he's saying, my job is to just stay in shape and do this. Well, this is a guy who between the first round and the second round went to Vegas for 3 days. So, I mean, he's really worried about anybody who goes to Vegas. They're worried about their health and worried about that. I mean, give me a break. He is. It's complicated because I believe there are many people here who think James Harden was lied to. They assume that he was lied to. I do not, because I'm not going to assume all of a sudden that Daryl Morey, a guy who has never had his character questioned, that his professionalism questioned, all of a sudden he turns bad when James Harden decides to do a Real Housewives of Philadelphia routine and finds his third team in 3 years that he wants out of because of some slight or something that he's not getting or the sheets aren't clean enough, whatever it is. I mean, he finds an issue every single time. He's the guy, I guarantee you, that sends back food at a restaurant. He's the guy who calls the front desk and says the pillows aren't fluffy enough. I know he is.
I have a crick in my neck.
He's a diva. He is a diva, and I am not on the fence on this one. I am absolutely the opposite side of James Harden.
With Joel Embiid, he did lead the NBA in assists, but what I typically say is that when you have a big game, James Harden is the last person you want taking threes because that's all he does, and they never happen to go in when the game is on the line. And I don't know, why can't he understand that maybe there's no teams out there that really want him?
If he didn't figure it out, Amy, he was. Here's the whole thing about it. He had the opportunity to walk away. Mm-hmm. He had the opportunity to be a free agent. But what did he want? He wanted $34 million guaranteed from the Sixers. Oh, and then he wanted them to trade him. And he doesn't mind if the Sixers, he wants them to be traded for whatever they can get because he just wants out. The Sixers are under no obligation once he opts in to give him, first of all, he gave them one team he wanted to be traded to, the LA Clippers. That's it. He didn't give them a list of teams or give them any flexibility. So then that gives the Clippers all the leverage to decide what they're willing to give up. Harden, his act is so tired. And much like he played in Game 6 and Game 7 when he couldn't, he's waddling down the court and couldn't get any lift and didn't have any energy. He played listless. He played great in Game 1, and he played fairly well in Game 5. But other than that, he had a bad series. And Game 6 and Game 7, when they needed him most, I'm in the building with my daughter, Game 6, 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes ago, they had the lead. Game 6, they're going to eliminate the Celtics. They're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And Joel Embiid did not touch the ball. That is the point guard. The point guard did not get the ball into Joel Embiid's hands. But Joel Embiid's not blameless. Because what do? What would Shaquille O'Neal, my buddy Shaq,
demand it?
He would have demanded the ball. No, Joel Embiid did not. And then he's a whole nother issue, scrubbing his social media and all. I mean, it is drama with the Sixers all the time. We talk about General Hospital. I said there's a big difference. The drama on General Hospital, the acting is much better. That's what I'll tell you, than it is with the Sixers.
John Kincade is with us from 97.5. The Fanatic does the morning show there and brings this energy. I don't know how you do it. I know you've done.
I did afternoons forever.
Yes.
I mean, and nobody told me. I mean,
well, you used to do Sunday mornings, Sunday mornings.
One day a week is different.
All right.
I mean, 4 a.m. every single day is not let's just put it this way. It is not the easiest thing in the world. So.
I don't know how you do that.
I'm trying.
You're doing great. He's with us from Philadelphia to kind of think about this from James Harden's perspective. But the team, though, John, if you're the team, let's say they come to you and they ask you for advice, what would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to hold strong. Because what did Daryl Morey do when he had Ben Simmons? Another one. I mean, it's just constant drama here. And Ben Simmons, who refused to dribble a basketball, refused to shoot a basketball, just was pulling his routine. What did Daryl Morey do? When everybody said just trade him, get rid of him, whatever, he waited. And what did he get? He got a good return. I mean, getting James Harden sounds good, looks good, thinks it's going to be good, and then it falls apart. And it is. But they had 2 shots. 2 bites at the apple to try to finally get out of the second round, and they couldn't get it done. But he waited, and he was patient. I'll trust Daryl Morey that he can wait out James Harden because as the new CBA is, when you're in the last year of a contract or you're in a 1-year contract, if he sits out, he's not going to get paid.
Right.
And he's not going to be able to be a free agent. So they have him over a barrel. James Harden seems to think he has leverage, and he's going to get leverage by trying to mock the Sixers and create struggle and create bad headlines. It's only going to make him look worse than he already does.
John's with us.
But there's a lot of people's sympathy for him, though, I will say, Amy. Not everybody sounds like me. Not everybody sounds like me. They believe he could have been lied to. I have no reason to question the integrity of people whose integrity has never been questioned before, and a guy who absolutely has played games to now try to get out of his 3rd team in a little over 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Even his own peers in the NBA will say he acted like a jerk when he forced his way out of Houston.
Yes. And I mean, I saw Kendrick Perkins the other day on television saying this man does not recognize his value. He doesn't understand. He's not 28-year-old James Harden. When James Harden looks in the mirror, he sees 28-year-old James Harden. He doesn't see what the NBA teams and scouts and executives saw this past year during the playoffs. He doesn't. He sees a different person. And I guess you see the best image of yourself and you want to believe in that. But at some point you have to be rational and realize his best chance to win a championship, which he claims is the biggest thing for him. He claims winning a title is the biggest thing. He's the only guy on the Sixers that went to Vegas between the first round and the second round. And that's not what you do if you're trying to stay focused. You think LeBron James is going for a vacation in Vegas between rounds?
Oh, heck no.
Heck, exactly. And that's the big difference. That's where you got the heart of a lion, the heart of a tiger, and then you've got James Harden, which is a totally different animal.
The heart of a sloth? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what motivates the guy, but money. Money definitely motivates him, but he's not willing to do what it takes to sacrifice to be able to get that money.
John Kincade is with us on CBS Sports Radio. Just about 60 seconds on the Phillies. Now, this is interesting, right? Because you were in Atlanta for the longest time. There's no chance they catch the Braves, but they did eliminate the Braves in the playoffs last year. So what signs do you see of the Phillies that they could potentially have another run like they did to the World Series last fall?
Well, last year they snuck into the playoffs.
Right.
They went 4-8 down the stretch, and the Brewers went 4-10. That's how they got in. I mean, and then they got excited. Things got, they got to St. Louis. They won the 2 games. Everybody got excited. And then once you get the games to Philly in October, it's the best home field advantage in baseball. And I know this. And I know this from watching the Braves organization. They're incredibly talented, incredible organization. But the minute the Phillies, if they were to get a lead in a game down there in one of the first 2 games of the NLDS, and they want the Braves in a 5-game series. And if they're the top wild card, if the Phillies win their series, they will go to Atlanta. Right now, the way it stands, if the Dodgers don't track them down. And I guarantee you this, that'll spook the Braves big time. They will be their bats will become sawdust because they do not want to come 1-1 back to Philadelphia because they saw last year. They got their backsides kicked 2 games in a row, lopsided blowouts, because there's a difference between playing in Philly and Atlanta, and I've lived both places. I know both fan bases, and I respect them. But going to Atlanta is like going to a tea party compared to coming to Philly in Red October.
I like it. Before I let you go, I want you to know, and I'm declaring it here on national radio, that in honor of you, my friend, as you battle hard and there's only one acceptable outcome, I will have my first colonoscopy before the end of the month.
I wish everybody in the listening audience, and I love the CBS Sports Radio audience, and I enjoyed my time there so much, and I love the whole crew. I wish everybody would take the time to get a colonoscopy. I was not sick, Amy. I was not. I had no indicators, and I'm very lucky because they told me 5 to 6 months I would have been terminal, and it would have been done.
Oh.
So, and I had already had one at 50, and I was perfectly fine and clean. So everybody get a colonoscopy. Take care of yourself. I'll be halfway through my treatments this time next week, and I'm battling through. I've got great doctors, and I've got amazing support from people all over the country like you. God bless you, and you're good news, and I'm so excited for you, and we will talk soon.
All right, my friend. You can find him on Twitter at John Kincade. Good to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon.